Oh my god! So today, guys, we're reacting to what is the Sonic Chaos Infection A by Ty Record L. So let's get into it.
This Sonic virus is worse than the Metal virus. It's called the Chaos Infection, another one of Eggman
Let's
Dragon Ball. You
let's skip some of this and let's get into it.
the alert system that goes on. The C virus is an incredibly dangerous, lethal virus that spreads tremendously fast. And as I'm currently finding a cure for it, I want everybody to know how to deal with it in the meantime. Dr. Gerald Robotnik is the type of person to cause his own problems, but really deal with those things on his own in private, unless it's a problem that will end up causing him his life and the destruction of the world. Then he'll team up with the others or warn them about it. I remember when he created the metal virus and he didn't have a cure for it, but he basically
No,
said he's just gonna
that's
create
not.
his new world and build it on top of them and have them squished under the pavement. It really wasn't until he was infected he tried helping Sonic really fix the problem he created. And so he tells us about the origin of this virus and how then an explosion went off, hitting him and his assistant Miss Cortez. Both of them were hit by the explosion, but only one of them got infected, and it wasn't Eggman. And he doesn't really know why. On the broadcast, he also explains how there's only two ways to get infected, as he's still doing research about it. First, by getting bit. If you end up getting bitten by an infected, this is the most lethal way to get infected, cannot be treated, and spreads the fastest this way. And the only way you can be saved is if that limb that you were bitten on, if you were to be cut off within a 5-minute duration. So if you're bitten on your face, chest, or belly, you are, my friend, cooked. Phoenix 8
Oh
has
my
evolved.
god. Oh my god.
Master Emerald and its power. For example, a child was mutated by the Master Emerald one day and became Chaos and was strong enough to take out the whole Knuckles Echidna tribe in Sonic lore. Then he goes on and says that the brain is the key to putting them down for good. If you go for the brain, they'll be neutralized. Just like Zombie Apocalypse, if you go for the head, most likely they're done. And they ended up finding out that she's in fact immune in a weird, odd way. And ever since they found out that she was immune, she's been locked up and being tested on in hopes to find a cure using her. And this is her during the day that she was bitten. She had a mask and even her hammer, and she's actually the age of 19 in this AU, which I'm pretty sure means that these characters are older than what they are in the games. And in part 3, we're showing Sonic, and we find out where he was during the start of the pandemic. So it says that the planet that they live on, Mobius, turned into complete hell, and Sonic, being the hero he is, was going around saving as much as he could. It also says he lost a lot of family and friends, but it doesn't specify who. He did manage to save his closest friends, but didn't save Amy, and she just went missing. So he lost a lot of hope until she was found again, and then he was happy again. Sonic and Amy, if I were to put it, have had a weird relationship throughout the whole 2000s. It seemed like in the beginning, Sonic didn't really want much to do with her, but as of today, in the present day, in Sonic Frontiers, it seems like he wants to somewhat have a relationship with her. But continuing on, it wasn't too long after the pandemic broke out that Sonic would eventually get bitten. And luckily, with the help of Silver and his psychokinesis, he cut off Sonic's arm. And as you can see, he has a robotic arm, most likely from Tails. He has rings on him and a knife, and a ring that somewhat resembles the one that Chip gave him at the end of Sonic Unleashed. And he's 22 years old, which definitely confirms that it takes place way after all of the events in the video games. Shadow seems to be holding
Now,
up.
Shadow age in this is not true. He's supposed to be over 50 years old or something like that because he was 50 years old trapped, okay? So this age, just act like it says 50 to 56. I don't know.
Pretty good. At the day of the pandemic, he lost power in his Chaos Emerald, so he knew something was up and went to go check on Eggman's lab and seen that everything was exploded. He immediately knew that this was a big disaster because there was no animals in sight. He also feels like the chaos energy within him feels weaker, so now he definitely has to meet up with Sonic and friends. And at the moment, he wants Eggman. And when she arrived, the Angel Island that used to be floating up was destroyed. Luckily, she found Knuckles, who was unconscious in the Sonic Prime series, and I gotta say, he's worse than that here. He feels a lot of pressure after the pandemic broke out because everybody relies on Tails, and Cream was the only one that basically had his back and made him feel good about himself. And she sadly went missing one day, and all that was found was cheese, which made Tails just kind of have a breaking point, and he started looking at people differently. He stopped caring about Sonic and his friends like he used to, and only cares about getting a cure for the planet, until eventually he actually gets a lead on this. Then he finally sees hope on saving the planet, and on top of that, Sonic finds Amy and says that she's immune, which makes it even better. Now he's a lot more determined, but still cold, as he says to Amy, "Suck it up, you agreed to this, remember?" Now, to find out what happened to Cream, it says that she and Cheese was separated from the group after the world collapsed. And she was eventually bitten on the shoulder by an infected, so they went and hid in a barn. And after more and
I
more
would
time
do too. I
passed,
don't want
she
to.
didn't get it treated, so
If I was bitten by an infected, I would go somewhere else where I couldn't infect nobody. I would lock myself in a room or something, and then I want to get out.
over time, she just started growing these weird purple chaos crystals on her. This would also result to her becoming more hungrier and hungrier, and she started eating and chewing on something and realized it was her hand the whole time. And after this, she notices and understands that she's too dangerous to be around Cheese, so she sends him away. As you can
Cream
see,
the
she's
rabbit.
in the 5th stage of the infection, and she's only 16 years
Wait.
old. She has a little bit of
Wait,
carrots to
wait.
eat.
I have a question. Her mom name is Vanilla, right? And her name is Cream. So guess what? Vanilla cream. Vanilla ice cream. Get it? No? Okay.
A picture of Tails, a hammer to defend herself, and says, "Please find me, Mr. Sonic. I'm scared." And if you look at her body closely, it just seems like she's rotting from the outside. Continuing forward, we're shown what's going on in Tails' head, and he's having kind of a mental breakdown, as it seems. In his mind, he doesn't really like what he's become, this scientist, and not this little innocent kid that was just caring for others and just mindful. Now he's just been experimenting on Amy and doing a lot of crucial and inhumane things. Next, we're shown Knuckles finally, who we already know has been attacked by Eggman's army and robbed of the Master Emerald. And for the past months of seeing the world crumbling because of his failure to protect the Master Emerald, he kind of feels like he failed his tribe as a whole and is depressed. He still helps around with the survivors, but his main role in the story now is that he kind of has some suspicion of Tails because every time he sees Amy, she's not really talking to anybody and just less portals.
Bro, real quick.
The cloud isn't floating somewhere in cyberspace. It's a real building with power system.
Portals and Sonic and her love for him, what he's really doing, so he's investigating in secret. Whatever experiments that Tails is doing here has to be lethal and horrible, because there's a part where she's chained up to the table and he's saying to
When I come back, I want you to take some sodas and put it in the freezer.
her, "I know, Amy, I don't know how you're kicking it either." And she just responds with, "It's nothing new," while thinking about Sonic and her love for him
Block.
the whole time. Which is
Shred cheese, shred.
Silver the Hedgehog, who is highly inspired by the character who originated
I mean, it
in
makes
Dragon Ball Z.
well, it does make sense for Silver to be 22 years old because out of the bunch, he is the youngest hedgehog of all.
Was having horrible dreams before coming from the future to the past to see what was going on. He tried to contact Blaze, but that wasn't working because for some reason the portals and things were just disconnected. And so for now, we know that he can't go back to the future. He also cut off Sonic's arm. And just like Rouge, he's been going around scavenging equipment and helping around with things. But in the meantime, Sonic and him have a weird friendship because when Sonic was bitten, immediately, like in milliseconds, Silver cut off his arm, which for now on makes Sonic look at Silver differently, as if he's scared. And Silver knows Cortez, and he's also the same age as Sonic and Shadow. Next, going forward,
But Shadow age is not true. He's not 20 years old. He's more than 50 years old. Silver does make sense. Sonic, He should be more than that too.
Finally get some information about Eggman and what happened on that fateful day. So it turns out Eggman and his assistant, Miss Cortez, before the virus even existed, performed an ancient echidna ritual meant to duplicate an ancient curse. All the dead bodies are potty, so he is also suspicious, just like Knuckles of him. Imagine you're a scientist looking for a cure or an antidote, and your partner that is supposed to be working with you in the lab is keeping secrets from you, not telling you all the info, and just deliberately doing things so that you don't know. That would be kind of weird and suspicious to me. The same day, Ant-Man to do it, and what he told him to do.
Oh my God,
and
Omega!
What we're told in Vanilla summary is that everyone was chilling in the safe bunker.
E1,
and
E1, 2, 3.
The whole
Omega,
thing was
come on,
bombarded
bro.
by infected
This
out
your
of nowhere.
second time dying
And
to a
unfortunately,
freaking
Vector and Vanilla
infection.
could not find Cream anywhere, as everyone started panicking and going crazy. And so after Vector sacrificed and rescued everyone, Tails declared Cream and Vector dead. But Vanilla just continued on helping the community in Vector's memory. She's 43 years old, seems like she's infected, but she's not. She's just holding up really good, keeping her smile up. And it wasn't until one day Rouge just out of nowhere asked her to come join them on a mission to the farm. And when she went there, she ran into Cream, who was hiding in that barn. It's also said that when they seen each other, Vanilla came dashing right towards her, and Cream tried her best
She got
to
shot
run
in the
towards
head,
her
let me
brother, but
guess.
she just
Let me guess,
literally
she got
couldn't.
shot in the head, let me guess.
Realistically, but sad,
I'm
it has
just
to be
guessing.
hard
She got
to
shot in the
walk around
head.
with crystals going out of your body. And as
If I get this right, y'all have to subscribe.
they get closer
And like.
and closer to each other, it starts going slower as something bad is going to happen, and then a shot goes off. Cream drops to the floor right
She got the Maria treatment.
in front of Vanilla. This is when Vanilla completely loses it, screaming out the word no. And then we're left at a short cliffhanger, and we'll find out what happens in a moment. In the meantime, after all of his research, Eggman finally
Y'all got to like and subscribe.
releases the stages of the Chaos Virus symptoms. In stage 1, once the victim has been bitten or has been exposed, if not treated, the victim will experience sweating, cold sweats, and slight fevers. In stage 2, after a little while, the victim will start to experience irritation on the bite or exposed area, along with excessive sweating, high fever, pain in the infected area, discolored skin, fur, color of skin, fur becomes desaturated, basically their fur starts losing their color, and hard bumps grow, spreading across irritated areas, as we can see with Cream. By stage 3, you might want to itch yourself when looking at the photo and what's going on, but basically by this time it starts worsening, of course, and their hair loss and fur, discolored skin, and everything just gets worse. And as you can see, the infection starts spreading across their body, with them turning more greenish. Now, by stage 4, they have excessive hair and fur loss, discolored skin and fur, infection continues spreading across their body, emeralds grow out their skin like bumps, rotting, decaying skin, coughing and vomiting discolored, glowing blood. They also start to go through self-cannibalism, eating themselves, and have a loss of eye color. Now, by the time of stage 5, the broadcast takes a darker turn. The TV becomes more staticky, and it just says any victims in this stage, avoid them at all costs. They are highly aggressive and violent. He also warns, if you see anything with green claws, run away and hide. In the next part, we see that Amy is crying in her cell, and she's just bawling out, and Tails walks up and says, "Why are you crying, Amy? Isn't this what you wanted, to find a cure for everyone? Why is that sad?" She continues crying, but as you can see, Tails is just super cold and
Amy, I understand, Amy.
to find
I
out
understand.
the man who shot the gun
With Tails, I
at
think.
Cream the Rabbit that
It was
day
between. It was between Shadow or Tails, cause
was Tails. When it happened, Vanilla didn't even look at Tails. She just stood there in shock and didn't know what to do. And Shadow, of course, being in the situation before, went to go.
I keep guessing things right. Because that was Tails because he was acting not as innocent like as he was normal in the games. When something happens, he's like, Sonic, help me! Like in Sonic Forces, yeah.
Hold her and comfort her, and Tails just sat there with a tear in his eyes, just crying. And soon after, maybe a couple days later or the next day, they held a funeral, and Tails was there. He didn't seem any type of moved by the situation.
See?
He didn't seem like
Look how serious he looks. He shot in the head.
you cared.
You know what? I'm not gonna say
He
nothing about Ramia.
only cared
Maria,
in the
Maria,
inside.
my bad.
The old Tails that wants to come out so bad at night is getting eaten alive by what he's done. All he sees is Cream at night and thinks of himself as a murderer, a cold-blooded murderer. Continuing
I mean-
forward, Eggman dropped another
You have the shot in the head, but I mean, what do you do? Do you just stand there and let Cream get bit by an infected victim, or would you just shoot him in the head to save them? What would you do?
broadcast showing off the infection, this time with illustrations. So in stage 1, the beginning of the infection, the bite or exposure just starts to spread. In the second stage, they get irritation and hard bumps. They probably become more itchy. By the third, their nerves start to glow. And as you can see, like explained before, their hair starts to fall off and fur as well. By stage 4, they have crystals and decaying skin coming out of their body. And this is what they look like by stage 5. And you wonder how Eggman knows this? This is his assistant.
Yep, like you said on that reading, his sister got infected.
And that day, when the explosion happened, he's seen it firsthand.
Oh my God! I swear to God, if these things show up one more time.
He recorded the whole interaction on video with his recorder
Why is she so tall?
and eventually was caught by the creature and fortunately was able to get away. Going on, we're shown a brief moment where Shadow is dealing with Omega's death and Rouge is just there to tell him like he's not coming back,
Why does
but is also
first
there
of all,
to
I go
comfort
confused. Why does Omega always gotta die first? Like that's stupid.
him as well. It looks like Charmy's in this AU as well, and
Why is Tommy black instead of like a pinkish red? Like why is she black?
it turns out him and the rest of the Chaotix, including Espio and Vector, were at the shelter that day that Vector died, and Vector was like a father figure to Charmy. So he started going crazy, but Espio kept him under control, and one day Espio went on a mission that he was told to go on by Tails,
He died, let me guess.
but never returned, which was basically the breaking point for Charmy, and now spends his days crying alone and just clings on to any hope left that Espio will come back. He even wears Vector's gold chain around his neck. Now, no one knows where Charmy is, but we are shown something very important when it comes to Tails. We see that Tails is very manipulated because he tells Sonic to go get the emerald. He does it, he loses his arm. He tells Amy to go get the shot or go get the experiment thing, and she does it. She agrees. But when it came to Espio, he wasn't agreeing with going out and finding whatever Tails was telling him to find. And he would keep saying to Tails, I need to stay with Charmy. And so Tails eventually used this against him and says, do you want him to find Charmy? Just another example showing how cold
I will smack the rings out of Tails.
Tails
Come
has
on,
to come.
you
They
made-
even
you
show
made this
what
dude
some of
die
his
because
nights are
he-
like when he's experimenting on Amy. You could just hear her screams echoing and everything across the halls, and even the Chow's kind of surprised by this and just horrified. But Tails has no reaction, and it seems like he's kind of using Amy to get Chaos Crystals. Judging based off the collection he has, he might be using her to kind of grow this stuff on her so that he can just pluck it off and maybe use the chaos energy to stop the virus as a whole. But that's just my little theory because this is still ongoing, and as it gets updates, make sure that you're subscribed so you do not miss out on the next parts. It doesn't cost you anything to press a button and or comment on the video and let me know what AUs to do next. Love you guys. Peace.
Alright guys, so tomorrow I'm gonna do a Sonic Dark Guide AU. I'll see you next time. I will miss you and goodbye.